So, new chapter, Krishna Lila Tattva Vicarah of Bhaktivinod Thakur in the Krishna Samhita.
Srila Bhaktivinod Thakur ki jai, Krishna Samhita ki jai. Esha Lila Vibhur Nitya Golokeshu Dhamani Swarubhava Sampana Chida Rupavartini Kira Pravarte Dvidhasapi Patrabheda Kramarida Jive Sambhaji Kiseyam Jesha Kala Vicharata Vyakti Nishtha Bhave Rekha Sarva Nishtha Paramata Bhakti Madadridaye Shatu Vyakti Nishtha Prakashate Ya Lila Sarvanishtha Tu Samaja Jnana Vartana Narada Vyasa Chiteshu Dvapare Sapavatita Dwarakayam Hari Purno Madhya Purnatarasita Mathurayam Vijani Adraje Purnatama Prabhu Purnatatvam Kalpitam Krishne Madhurya Sudhata Kramat Vrajalila Vilasohi Jivanam Shrestha Bhavana Gopikara Manam Bhavanam Shrestha Uchati Shri Radharamanam Tatra Sarvodha Bhavana Mata Etasya Rasa Rupasya Bhavasya Chigatasya Cha Ashwadana Parayetu Te Naranitya Dharmina Samanya Vakya Yogi Turasanam Putra Vishriti Hato Vaikavidhi Krishna Lila Tatam Vitanati Ishodhyato Bridhajyatam Yagnesho Yajitas Narati Paramanandam Yatha Krishna Prasevita Vinanti Tattvata Krishnam Patitvedam Suvaishnava Labhante Tatphalam Yattu Labhe Bhagavate Nara Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jaya Bhaktivinod Thakur Jaya Bhaktivinod Thakur Jaya Bhaktivinod Thakur Jaya Bhaktivinod Thakur Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Gurudev Gurudev Jaya Jaya Gurudev Jai Go Pramandi Hari Hari Bol Shri
Haribo.
Thakur Ki Jai
Jai.
Ki Jai Guru Maharaj Ki Jai
Jai.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well done, Karuna. Beautiful.
Okay, translation. It was previously described how Vaikuntha was created by the Sandhini aspect of the spiritual potency of the superior energy. Vaikuntha is divided into three divisions: the sweet division, opulent division, and the impersonal division. The impersonal division is the covering of Vaikuntha. The outer apartment is called the abode of Narayan, and the inner apartment is called Golok. The impersonalists attain Brahmadham, the impersonal division, and become free from lamentations caused by Maya. The devotees who worship the opulent aspect of the Lord attain Narayandam and become fearless. The devotees who worship the sweet aspect of the Lord attain the inner apartment and relish the nectar of Krishna. Freedom from lamentation, fearlessness, and nectar are the three-quarter opulences of the Lord known as Vaikuntha. When the Supreme Lord is endowed with opulence, he is called Vibhu. This material world is the one-quarter opulence of Krishna. Various pastimes, beginning with the Lord's appearance and continuing to his disappearance, are eternally manifested in Golok. The mood of Golok is reflected in the conditioned living entities' hearts, wherein the pastimes of Krishna are also eternally manifest. Therefore, according to the devotee's qualification, at a particular time, Krishna is taking birth in some devotee's heart. He is stealing the gopis' clothes in another devotee's heart. He is performing the ras dance in someone's heart. He is killing Putna in another's heart. He is killing Kamsa in someone else's heart. He is having an affair with Kubja in yet another's heart. And he annexes his disappearance in the heart of some devotee who is leaving his body. As the living entities are innumerable, the planets are also. As one pastime takes place on one planet, another pastime takes place on another planet. In this way, each pastime continually takes place. Therefore, all of the Lord's pastimes are eternal. There's no break between the Lord's energies, because the Lord's energies are always active. All these pastimes are purely spiritual, without a trace of material contamination. Although for the conditioned living entities in illusion, these pastimes appear perverted, in reality, they are most confidential and spiritual. Number 2. These pastimes are constitutionally manifest in Golok, but the conditioned living entities perceive them in a relative way. A pastime appears different because the nature of conditioned souls varies according to time, place, and person. The pastimes of the Lord are never contaminated, but they may appear to be due to one's contaminated consideration. It was previously described that activities of the spiritual world are not clearly seen by conditioned souls. Although something may be realized through samadhi, that also is seen through the perverted material medium of the original spiritual nature. Example 65 are seen in the place 65, time 65, and person 68 that are mentioned in the pastimes of Braj. All these examples may be understood in two ways. For the Kanishta Adhikaris, these examples are only appreciated through complete faith. There is no other possibility for their advancement. For the Uttam Adhikaris, these examples are accepted as indications of spiritual variegated nature. When conditioned souls are free from material affinity, then they will perceive the constitutional pastimes of the Lord. Number 3. Conditioned souls naturally perceive the pastimes of the Lord in terms of their affinity for him. This affinity is of two kinds: that which is found in an individual and that which is found in a general mass of people. The affinity found in the hearts of particular devotees is that which is found in an individual. The hearts of Prahlad and Dhruv were seeking places for the pastimes of the Lord as a result of the individual affinity. Verse 4, just as a particular feature of the Lord appears in and purifies the heart of a person according to the awakening of his knowledge, if you similarly envision the whole society as one person and consider its childhood, youth, and old age, then the particular feature of the Lord that manifests becomes a community asset. As the community's knowledge matures, they first take to fruitive activities, then the cultivation of knowledge, and ultimately they take to spiritual activities and become purified. The affinity that is found in the general mass of people first appeared in the hearts of Narad and Vyas in Dwapar Yuga. and has progressively been propagated as pure Vaishnava religion. Verses 5 and 6. This Vaishnava religion in the form of the pastimes of the Lord is divided into 3 parts according to the development of a society's knowledge. The first part is the pastimes of Dwarka, where the Lord is opulent, where he is known as Vibhu, and where he is worshipped through regulative principles. Second part is sin around Mathura, where the Lord's opulence is partially manifest with a greater portion of sweetness. But the third part, the pastimes of Raj, is the best of all. Pastimes that contain more sweetness are superior and more intimate by nature. Therefore, Krishna is most complete in the pastimes of Raj. Although opulences are part of the Lord's splendor, they cannot become prominent before Krishna, because wherever opulences are more prominent, sweetness is diminished. This is also the case in the material world. Therefore, objects of sweetness like cows, gopis, cowherd's dress, butter, forest, fresh leaves, the Yamuna, and the flute are the only wealth of Raj, Gokul, or Vrindavan. What is the need for opulence there? Verse 7. Supreme rasas under the shelter of the 4 relationships, Dasya, Sakhya, Vatsalya, and Madhurya, are eternally existing in the pastimes of Raj as ingredients of all spiritual activities. Among all these rases, the pastimes of the Lord with the gopis are the highest. And among these, the Lord's pastimes with Srimati Radharani, who is the crest jewel among the gopis, are still higher. Verse 8. Those who relish this topmost spiritual ras are said to have accepted their eternal constitutional activities. Verse 9. Fearing to cross the threshold of argument, some Madhyamadhikaris say, just try to explain these feelings with simple words. There's no need to use Krishna's pastimes as examples. But such type of comments are faulty, for the variegated nature of Vaikuntha cannot be explained with simple words. Just by saying, there is a Lord, worship him, does not properly explain the living entity's supreme constitutional duties. The act of worship is not possible without a relationship. To be situated in Brahman after giving up Maya cannot be called worship, because in this process, only an indirect mood of negation is accepted. There is nothing positive. But by saying, see the form of the Lord, take shelter of the Lord's lotus feet, the quality of variegated nature is somewhat accepted. At this juncture, we must consider that if one is not fully satisfied with spiritual variegated nature, one may still address the absolute truth as Lord or Father. Although these relationships appear mundane, there is nonetheless an indescribable purpose behind them. Since one must accept material ingredients, activities, and all the perverted mundane reflections of the relationships of Vaikuntha as examples, swan-like persons must not fear to extract from these the understanding of spiritual activities and ingredients by the propensity of swans. I have to fear that foreign scholars will not understand this and accuse us as idol worshippers. Should we submerge the jewel of spiritualism? Those who will criticize are certainly immature in their conclusions. Being on a higher platform, why should we fear these fallacious conclusions? The science of rasa cannot be fully explained by ordinary words. Therefore, poets such as Vyasadeva have elaborately described the pastimes of Krishna. These wonderful pastimes of the Lord are respected wealth for both Kanishta Adhikaris and Uttam Adhikaris. Verse 10, the happiness that Lord Krishna bestows when he properly served is not obtained when he is worshipped as Yagneshwar through Karma Yoga, as impersonal Brahman through Gyan Yoga, or as Paramatma, the companion of the living entity, through Dhyan Yoga. Therefore, serving Krishna is a supreme occupation duty for all living entities, whether Kanishta Adhikari or fortunate Uttam Adhikari. Verse 11. All Vaishnavas should read this Krishna Samhita and understand the science of Krishna. All the results that one achieves by studying Srimad Bhagavatam will be achieved by studying this book. So this was the Isha Lila Vipur Nitya Goloke, chapter 7 of the Krishna Lila Tattva Vicarah from the Krishna Samhita by Bhaktivinod Thakur. Bhaktivinod Thakur ki
Jai.
Jai.